Hello everyone, I'm back again with another God Guide, and today we're going to go over Hill. Someone requested me to do Hill, and, well, I wasn't really planning on doing her quite yet because she doesn't see that much play, but I don't mind doing it. I like Hill, she's a lot of fun, but after you requested it, that got me thinking about something, and I really want to go over it at the end of the video. Because it's something very important about Hill. So, anyway, we're going to start with the build. Unlike Hunters and Guardians, I just want to mention this. Mages don't really have a set, like, best build that they should build every time. So, these are not items that you should always build, except for maybe a couple of them. But these are more just a general guideline of what you should buy. I mean, like, most of these core items are stuff that you're gonna want to build every time. But certain situations, you know, call for different things. Anyway, we're gonna start with the starter items. I want to get Vampiric Shroud. Later there will be a new starter item called Soulstone, which I heard is not it's okay on healers, but it's pretty bad overall, at least compared to Vampiric Shroud. Vampiric Shroud just gives you so much. Gives you health. I mean, it gives you health and mana back when you kill minions. You know, it's just gives you a little bit of everything that you need. So yes, Vampiric Shroud's very good. So what else to start with? You need to start with Tiny Trinket or Lost Artifact. I prefer to start with Lost Artifact because it gives you mana regeneration and 15 power. Now the Tiny Trinket will give you 20 power, which will help with your clearing and everything, but the other stat it gives you is lifesteal. I think it gives you 4% lifesteal, which is completely useless. Well, maybe not completely useless, but it's pretty useless. As in, like, 99% useless, unless you're playing Anubis. And then, the other one's still fine. I mean, Tiny Trinket does give you more power, which can help you with your clearing and everything. The other one, these two are fine. And then, of course, finish off with potions. Just buy potions. Please always spend all your gold, especially in a Conquest game. Then you want to get boots. Now, when you first buy the boots, you can either get the power boots or cooldown reduction boots. Either one are fine. Power boots will help you, you know, do more damage as they're power boots. And cooldown reduction boots will just let you get your abilities off more, which is still pretty good early games, not as good as just having more damage, but by the time the late game comes around, you will want, if you get power boots, you want to sell them for cooldown reduction because the cooldown reduction will be much better late game. But either one's fine. I still sometimes just like to go straight cooldown reduction boots and then get Chronos Pendant second, which I'll go and talk about now, because if you get Chronos Pendant second, then you already got 40% cooldown reduction and you already have max cooldown. I don't know how much I like getting it second on Hill, but it's still an option. I mean, her abilities aren't that crazy of cooldown, but once you get both of these up, you can use all your abilities in one stance. You switch stance, use those abilities, and by the time you switch back, your abilities will be back up. So if you do a lot of stance switching, max cooldown is very good, which you should be doing a lot of stance switching. Yes. Anyway, we're gonna move on to Obsidian Shard. Now a lot of people see Hell for like having this great healing potential and everything, and she does. But you got, if you really look at Hell, she does an insane amount of damage too. So I think it's hurting her a lot if you focus completely on just healing for Hell, which that's a hint for one of the items I'm going to talk about in a little bit that I am not a big fan of. But yes, I like Obsidian Shard. It's going to give you more. It's going to give you some power, which is going to make your healing better. But the main thing is, it's going to make your damage go. It's going to give your damage a great boost because you will have penetration. Now, I have said in previous posts that Obsidian Shard is not a great penetration item, but when I say that, I don't mean that it's a bad item. It's just not as. I'm just saying it's not as good as Spear of the Magus or Demonic Gripper stuff. Now you could maybe get away with Spear of the Magus here. I don't think Spear of the Magus would be the worst thing on hill. Also, I'm not the best hill player, and Spear of the Magus might actually be pretty good on hill too. So that's something you want to try, especially if you get you'll want max cooldown reduction before you really can properly use Spear of the Magus. But you do have 6 abilities, so you do have ways to get your abilities off to use Spear of the Magus. But I don't know. I think I like the guarantee penetration from Obsidian Shard instead of hoping to rely on getting my abilities off and actually hitting them for Spear of the Magus to be good. Just personal opinion though. I think Obsidian Shard's slightly better on hill. Well, I don't know about slightly. I don't know. I'm about to try Spear of the Magus sometime. Test it out. But I'll still stand by Obsidian Shard. And then we got Ratatouille. Ratatouille gives you a bunch of power. Power's good on hill. Makes her healing better. Makes her damage better. She will just chunk people for damage and heal a good percentage of your teammates. Ratatouille. It's very good. Although I would build it either 5th or 6th. We're going to take a look at some of the other damage items. Book of Thoth is very good on her because it will also give you a crazy amount of damage. And it will give you a lot of health. Not health. It will give you a lot of mana. Which you will need on hill. Because if you're doing a lot of stance switching, you're going to be using your abilities a whole lot. And you could run out of mana pretty easily. I won't say that she runs out of mana a whole lot, but she can. So there's that. I still think Book of Thoth is pretty good on her. Next we're going to go to Bankrest Talon. It has lifesteal. Don't worry about the lifesteal on it. Just worry about all the damage it can give you, because it can also give you a lot of damage. It's kind of one thing I don't like about Bankrest Talon though, is that the only 2 stats it gives you is damage, well, power and gives you power and lifesteal, and one of them is pretty useless except for a handful of mages, and Hell is not one of them. Plus Hell has a healer herself, but still good, a lot of damage. Still pretty good item on Hell, just not as good as like Book of Thoth or something. Then we have Soul Reaver. Soul Reaver is, once again, I'll say it. If y'all watch any other god guides on mages, I'll say I don't like Soul Reaver that much, but it has its uses against tanky lineups. If the enemy team has like 3 tanks, then you know Soul Reaver's not that bad. It's not the greatest item. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it has its uses. It's okay. And then we're gonna get to this item, the Rod of Exclusive. I don't even know how to say it. Not gonna lie to you, I don't know how to say the name of this item. Also don't use this item a lot, because I don't. This item at best is meh. Sure, it gives you extra healing, gives you more movement speed, which Hell's not gonna complain about because she's doesn't have any mobility, except for, well, she gets some extra movement speed from her heal, but I don't know. I don't like it that much. Hell is not someone that should be completely reliant on healing. Healing is a very big part of Hell and what makes her really powerful. Because I will admit, Hell, especially later in the game, is super powerful. But I don't think this is the best way to do it. I think it gives you too many stats that are kind of Because if you're in your dark stance trying to do damage, this item doesn't do that much for you. You'll get a lot more benefit out of Obsidian Shard because it's going to use some penetration. Plus, you'll have plenty of healing, especially with one of the actives we'll be talking about in a minute. That will basically kind of give you the passive of this item without using up an item slot. Next, more defensive items. I'm gonna go Warlock Sash. Takes a long time to stack up, so I would get this after the boots if you want Warlock Sash. It's actually not that bad on Hill. She could benefit some from the extra health since she has no ability. She's gonna probably be getting hit a lot, and Well, you can heal yourself. So having extra health, it's not that bad. And then we have the version of Warlock Sash if you don't want to build stacks, because I've seen some people do calculations about how long it'll take for you to get fully stacked up with Warlock Sash, and it will take somewhere around 10 minutes to get stacked up on Warlock Sash. So that's a lot of time you gotta spend on lane. Or you can just get Ethereal Staff. It's maybe slightly worse than Warlock Sash, maybe. I still really like Ethereal Staff. I think it's very good. I've actually been building it more than I have Warlock Sash lately. If I go for something that needs, if I wanted some health. Not really a whole lot on, I haven't really been using it as much on mages anymore. I think the Warlock Sash is a big commitment into getting all those stacks. And Ethereal Staff, you don't have to make any commitment. But it's still, both these items are very good. I'm not going to say anything bad about Warlock Sash because it's not a bad item. It just takes a while to stack. So no, either one of these, they're both good. I like both of them a lot. They're both very good. Then we'll take a look at Lotus Crown. Lotus Crown will give you some physical protection, which is not the worst thing on heal. But the main thing is when you heal, and if you want to do something to be a little more utility based for heal, even though I don't know how great utility based heal is, I would still much prefer this item over this. You get a lot of healing, and this is only good, and this is also going to give you and your teammates protection, which I think is better than the extra healing. Because you can heal them and give your team more effective health. In a way. So, anyway, yes, I'd much prefer Lotus Crown. If you're a fan of this item, I would try replacing it with Lotus Crown, because you'll get a much more important stat that you need, which is defense, instead of the movement speed. At least I would say. You also get some power out of it. I don't remember how much. Let me see how much power you get out of it. I don't remember how much it is. Lotus Crown, you get 60, which is still a pretty decent bit. Also gives you mana regeneration. Lotus Crown's actually a pretty good item. How much I like it on hill, I'm not exactly sure, but it's definitely an option. Much better than this, like I just said. But here's another item that I'm not sure how much I like on hill, but just thought I'd mention it because it can be used. Since you do have some way to use it, and you do have a slow in your kit already. Jungle Isolation, not bad. Gives you decent bit of, pretty good bit of power, but also gives you health and mana, which I was not complaining about. You're gonna slow the enemies on your damaging abilities. That's also something. It's not the greatest. It's not the worst. It's just another option on hill, if you're interested in that. Those are mainly your those are gonna be the main items that you'll want to look for. Except for this, I really do not suggest buying this. Get Lotus Crown instead, if you want something like that. Just opinion, just my opinion though, of course. But I always wanted to mention these item builds that I keep forgetting about. You still, even if you don't have the most optimal build, you still need to build kind of how you want to build, because you might work best with a certain type of build that might fit your playstyle a lot better. Now, I personally think these are going to be your best bet as far as items go, except for this. Just trying to make it a point that I don't like this item a lot. But you know, you still, I don't want to feel like you're forced into building a specific way, because that's how you have to play. But that's a completely different rant for another day. Still get what you feel comfortable with and what you think is good. But if you go get someone with a more optimal build, they're probably going to beat you. I'm just going to let you know. Just as a heads up. Anyway, actives. You will want to buy Heavenly Agility on hill. It's going to prevent you from being slowed. It's going to give you a lot of movement speed, and it's going to make your healing better. Which is why I also don't like the Rod of something. Whatever it is. Because you could just get it as an active, and it will give you a lot better benefits than it, and you don't have to use up an item slot. Once again, personal opinion, but I find it a lot better. Secondly, you get beats if you need the CC immunity, which you probably won't with Hill because she does not have a good time being CC. Because if you're stunned, well, you can't use your abilities. And if you're not using your abilities, you're pretty dead. You also have Aegis if the enemy team has like Poseidon or anybody with like high burst damage ability that you need to avoid quickly. Not bad. Also someone like Anubis, Alquan. Not Alquan. Dang it, Alquan. Kukulkan. There we go. He used to be Alquan. Yes, Cuckoo Dragon has ability that you want to definitely avoid. Scylla does. You know, guys like that. I still think beads are slightly better, but Aegis still has, you know, its benefits against certain gods. And then you also have Combat Blink. So if someone has, if they have Odin on their team, you might want to get Combat Blink. If he rings you, then you're stuck in there. You have no way to get out, and you can't heal inside of his rings because you have 100% healing reduction. Unless you pop. Now, interesting with healing reduction, just because you have 100% reduced, if you use Heavenly Agility after, you can still heal after that. But it's only going to be the percentage that Heavenly Agility will give you. Just an interesting thing with healing reduction that you can add on to 100%. Or, well, I guess, negate it some. But I would rather just blink out. Because you're not going to get a whole lot of healing out of it. Anyway, those are going to be the items for Hill for the most part. This is what I think are the best for her. Personal opinion. And now we're going to go to the abilities. Now her passive, which I don't like a lot, is Stance Attunement. And this is kind of the problem with it. You get benefits from staying in a stance. Because if you stay in Dark Stance long enough, you get 20% damage. You stay in Light Stance long enough, you get 20% healing. That's pretty bad because you want to be switching stances so you can keep firing off your abilities, which means you won't stay in stance. You won't hardly ever stay in stance long enough to get the benefits from it. Yeah, you can get the benefits of it from lane and stuff, but when it comes to team fights, when you really need help, your passive's not going to help you a whole lot. And if you just sit in one stance in the middle of a team fight, then you're probably going to die. Because you're either not healing your teammates or you're not doing any damage for your team. So start off with her one, which is in dark form. It's Decay, which fires a projectile. It has a, I believe it has a AoE on it. Pretty sure. Yeah, it has an AoE on it. Okay. I said I don't play a whole lot of Phil, but I do. I will say I have all the gods mastered though, so I have a decent understanding on at least all the gods. I have much more. I have much better off with all the other gods, but I do have a decent understanding of how to play Hill. But yeah, its ability is pretty good. You'll want to level it the second. Also, I go with a light stance, which is restoration. Or also fires a projectile, but there's no. I know for sure there's no AoE on it, but you also get health back. Now, these are both pretty good. They both hurt a lot. Obviously, a little more in the dark stance because I'll go over why a little bit. But yeah, I will level this up second. Both very good. You have to use Decay some to help clear the way early until you get Repulse leveled up more. And then eventually Repulse will be all you need to clear the wave. But still hurts a lot. You can hit people for a lot late game with Decay. And it's going to be your second form of damage. Next we got Hinder and Cleanse. Hinder and Dark Stance will debuff enemies. It'll slow them. It'll take away their magical protection. Well, not all of it, but some of it. Very good. You should use this before you go in to use Repulse and Decay, your two damaging abilities, in Dark Stance, because you will do a lot more damage. And it'll be easier for you to catch up with them. And now this is very important that I don't see a whole lot of Hill players use, and that is Cleanse in the light stance, because Cleanse will give you CC immunity. It's not very long, it's very short, but it will also cleanse CC So if your teammates, say like your teammate gets frozen by a mirror, you hit them with cleanse and they're not frozen anymore. It's very good. It's kind of like Gift Shield. It's nowhere near as good as Gift Shield, but it has that type of ability. Although it can grant you CC immunity. Then we have Repulse and Inspire. This is definitely the ability you want to level up first. And, well, Repulse does a ridiculous amount of damage. They're both just AoEs around you. Repulse does damage to the enemies, and Inspire heals you and your teammates. Inspire will also give you movement speed. Well, I guess your teammates' movement speed too. Anyone that's affected by the healing will get movement speed. But yeah, Repulse does a lot of damage. And it's only on a 10-second cooldown. You get max cooldown. It's only on a 6-second cooldown. It's very good. Very powerful ability. Definitely level this up first. Also, the heal is very powerful on her. You just gotta be careful if they have some anti-healing, which they should if you're playing Hill. So always be aware of that. And then we're gonna move on to your ultimate. That's not really an ultimate. This is gonna be your switch stance. The reason why I said DK will do more damage than Restoration are one, because you get extra damage while you're in Dark stance, and then while you're in Light stance, you get extra mana regeneration. Yeah, that's about it for the switch stances. You don't have an ultimate with Hill, so you have to accept it. But what you get instead is 6 abilities. One good thing though, if you're in lane, if you're laning with Hill, which I don't know why it's laning with Hill, because you're not going to be jungling with Hill. After you clear the wave, just switch to your light stance, just so you can get your mana regeneration. Well, at least after you put a point into it, because you don't get any of these benefits until you put a point into your ultimate. At level 5. You can switch stances before that. It'll be available, you just don't get the benefits. And anyway, those are her abilities. That's gonna be her items and abilities. And now the last thing that I want to talk about, Hill. Now, before I say any of this, I want to say I like Hill. I think she's fun. I think she's very good. I believe she is very. I don't know that much about the 1v1 joust scene, but I'm pretty sure from what I've seen, she is very, very powerful in joust. She's very good. I think she's one of the, definitely one of the top tier gods when it comes to joust. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. I misread that, but the problem is in joust, it's just you 1v1 with someone else. You don't have to deal with anybody else. And this is her biggest downfall. If you see an enemy team with Hill in Conquest, just camp her. There is no reason Hill should ever make it late game. If the enemy team has a Hill, you should always win the game, because you should just keep killing her. She cannot escape from you. She's very squishy. Just camp her lane. Just kill her every time she comes to lane. You're gonna make her feed. You're just gonna get fed off of her, and your team is just gonna snowball. Hill is very, very bad in Conquest if the enemy team knows what they're doing. This is why you do not see Hill played any in competitive, because she's just gonna get camped, especially like in mid lane. I mean, there's usually the support and jungler are gonna be there, and sure, your support and jungler could be there too, but then you're pretty much gonna have to sit there and protect Hill the whole time, which means their jungler and support can go wherever they want and gank your hunter and kill them. You have to spend way too much on protecting Hill. Way too much. Either that or she's just gonna feed. She's not very good in Conquest. If you see Hill on the enemy team, just kill her as many times as you can, as early as you can. If Hill gets late game, she can carry the game. She's very scary late game, but there's absolutely no reason Hill should ever make it late game. No reason. Anyway, with that, with my rant on why Hill should never make it late game, It's gonna be it. If there's any guys you'd like to see me do next, just let me know. And yeah. Also let me know if I forgot anything or if you have anything to add to this. That would be greatly appreciated. And thank you for watching, and have fun.